Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Monday OA Blackrock meeting. If we could please open with the Serenity Prayer.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Welcome to the Monday night Zoom meeting of Overeaters Anonymous. This is a closed meeting. My name is Rebecca A, and I'm a compulsive overeater. If this is your first time at this meeting or you are visiting, please introduce yourself by your first name, so we can get to know you better. Feel free to use the chat to do that. Do we have anybody new here today with us? Oh, welcome Avery. Welcome Jane. Anyone else new with us today?
Carmela.
Ella. Welcome to the meeting. Welcome Mia, welcome everybody, welcome home. Okay, if you have any questions or concerns during the meeting, please contact either myself or one of the co-hosts by private message in using the chat function. We ask if you can please make sure to keep your microphone on mute at all times during today's meeting, and also your video if you are exercising, eating, or if you need to step away from your screen for any reason. Okay, so we're going to read the preamble. Bear with me one moment. Overeaters Anonymous is a fellowship of individuals who, through shared experience, strength, and hope, are recovering from compulsive overeating. We welcome everyone who wants to stop eating compulsively. There are no dues or fees for members. We are self-supporting for our own contributions, neither soliciting nor accepting outside donations. OA is not affiliated with any public or private organization, political movement, ideology, or religious doctrine. We take no position on outside issues. Our primary purpose is to abstain from compulsive eating and compulsive food behaviors, and to carry the message of recovery through the 12 steps of OA to those who still suffer. May I please have Mark D to read how it works for us? Thank you.
Yeah, how it worked. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed their path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. If you've decided what you want, what we have, and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, but the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with food, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery.
Thanks, Mark. So now can we have Margaret read the 12 steps for us?
Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret. I'm the compulsive overeater. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over food, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amendments to such people wherever possible, except when to do so should injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to compulsive overeaters and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order, I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the compulsive overeater, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were compulsive eaters and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our compulsive eating. C, that God could and would if he were sought. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your service, Margaret. Okay, next can we have Geraldine to read more about compulsive overeating.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. My name is Geraldine. I'm a gratefully recovered compulsive overeater. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real compulsive overeaters. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our eating careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could eat like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his eating is the great obsession of every abnormal eater. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were compulsive overeaters. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. We compulsive overeaters are men and women who have lost the ability to control our eating. We know that no real compulsive overeater ever recovers control. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that compulsive overeaters of our type are in the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. We are like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which will make compulsive overeaters of our kind like other men. We have tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there has been brief recovery, followed always by a still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with compulsive overeating agree there is no such thing as making a normal eater out of a compulsive overeater. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet.
Thanks, Miriam. That's great. Next, can we have Monica to read the tradition of the month? And we're in August, so it's tradition.
Hi, I'm Monica, a compulsive eater, and tradition 8. Overeaters Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centres may employ special workers. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Miriam. Okay, and can we have Laura to read A Vision for You? Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura, I'm a compulsive overeater. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your house is in order, but obviously you can't transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Thanks, Laura. That's great. Okay, so this is the second week of the month. We have a speaker with us today. I just want to remind everyone that our speaker share and the shares after will be recorded, so that everybody knows that and is comfortable with that. Following the share, we're going to have Q&A and time to share. So without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker, Carmela G from New York. Thank you for being with us today. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you for inviting me to speak. And it's just so lovely to see some faces. I think, Maria, you're on in the morning at Vision. And I see a few people that I hear, but I never knew what you look like. So it's great to see everyone. And thank you so much. I'm glad to be in Ireland. I was supposed to be there physically 3 years ago, but COVID had other plans. So we'll see what happens. All righty. As you know, as Rebecca said, my name is Carmela G, and I am a grateful, recovered, compulsive overeater. And Mark read usually what I read, the promise, rarely have we seen. So I thought that I would start the meeting by saying, as soon as you open this book, we get a promise. The story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered. And that is my story. And I just never believed it would be me. I never believed that I would ever be a normal weight. I call myself, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm going to try to project. Can that be seen? That is me. And I must say, I tell you that I was a 315-pound starving person. And my share will explain why I was starving. But that is me, and people that know me today can't believe that that is me. But that's what I look like. That's how I functioned. And I needed that wheelchair because I took some of my great nieces and nephews on a trip to Disney, and I could not walk the distance. And the embarrassing part was I had to order that wheelchair, and it had to be available to hold over 300 pounds. So to have to face that and say that, I just, because I was in such denial. When I entered program, my abstinent date is July 22nd, 2013. So I just celebrated my 8-year anniversary. And it was, I was 67 years old when I entered. I'm 75 now. And the joy of these years, and I'm not saying life gets easy. No, no, no. I'm not talking about life. I'm talking about my joy, the fulfillment, and the peace, and the serenity and happiness that I have been gifted with, because I am no longer, as the 11th step says, we must die so that we're born again. That Carmela is gone. And this book and these steps brought me through. So I'm just going to share some things that kept me away from program. Along with all the bedevilments that I had, my arrogance, my self-righteousness, my lack of humility, my schizophrenic ego. I acted so independent, but if you looked at me crooked, I was so crushed. So I was a mess, but never admitted it. At 67 years old, I had gone for a physical and decided I was going to get healthy because it was time to get healthy. So I went for a physical. No, excuse me. That's when I went into program. Let's backtrack to 62, 5 years prior. I quit my job as a nurse, and I went for a physical, and I was told by the physician, "How did you get so fat?" And I said, "Don't you worry about that. I can control that. Is there anything wrong? You have any symptom?" "No, I'm in tip-top shape, and I'm good." So he said, okay. So he did the exam. Within the week, he called me and he said, "You have cancer." And I said, like I said so many things and denied so many things, "Thank you. So when are you going to operate and get rid of it? Like, just wave that magic wand, get rid of it." And he said, "I'm not." He said, "At your weight, it would require 6 hours of very intense surgery. And I've worked with you for too many years, and I'm not going to kill you." And I said, "Wait a minute. I know that what the treatment is. You must do surgery." "No, for you, I'm not going to do any surgery." He said, "For you, I'm going to treat you just with radiation because your weight can't support it. You want surgery? Find someone else." So I did. I found someone else. They did operate. And what should have been 6 weeks of recovery was 3 years of multiple complications and near-death experience. But during that time, I realized that I wanted to live. I never knew. You see, I was ready to allow the food, because it owned me so much. I was ready for it to allow the food to allow me to die. I was ready to give up. I thought, I had a good career. I had a decent life. I was in my 60s. The 2 boys that I raised, my 2 great nephews, They were young men, they were married. I could die, no, it wouldn't matter. That was my thinking. And when this occurred, I realized I wanted to live. So I survived 2 more surgeries, and I survived all the complications. And at that point, I was a woman of faith and I used to pray. But you see, I had no relationship with my higher power that I call God. I used to tell him exactly what I wanted and when to do it and how to do it. I'd give him the list in the morning and then lock him up in the closet for the rest of the day. So I was laying in the bed with all this machinery on me and the visiting nurse coming and the aide coming to help me. And I was cursing at God. I was angry as to why he should have done this to me. I was resentful at God. I just couldn't comprehend it. And the one day that I was closest to death, my doorbell rang. My regular nurse had to be off that weekend. And on Saturday, this relief nurse came and she begged me to go to the hospital because she said, "You're not going to die on my time." And I said, knowing better, I'm not going. It's July. The doctors are all idiots in the emergency room, and I will not be exposed. I will see my doctor on Monday. And she said, "Please let me take you." And I said, "No." And while she was visiting me, she called my doctor, and my doctor said, "Whatever she wants, I respect." So I stayed home with I was totally septic. And she left. That night at 9:30, she called and I told her the arrogance that I had, phenomenal arrogance. I told her, "Don't worry about it. I got it. I'm going to sit in the bathroom with ice packs. I'll get this fever down until Monday, and Monday I'll take care of it by going to the doctor." Again, that magical thinking, that magic wand, wave it and I'll be okay. That was my faulty mind. You know, the obsession of the mind, that was it. So the next day came and my doorbell rang and I was not expecting any company. And it was this nurse. And I opened the door and I said, "What are you doing here? My insurance is not going to pay you." "I don't care. I wanted to check on you." So I invited her in. We sat in the living room and I said, "You know, since you're here, the way you put the dressing on yesterday, it's the tape is really pinching me. You mind if we go and you could fix it for me, please?" And she said, "Absolutely." And as I stood, I had to gather all my equipment to walk back to my bedroom. Whatever was inside me burst. And the machine that I was attached to was going crazy. My abdomen, everything, the whole thing was an absolute wild scene. And she took my arm and said, "Do not worry, I am here." And she brought me back, laid me in bed. I had all the dressings and all in the bedroom. She had to unpack me and repack me, and she saw. Now I'm telling you, you saw what I looked like, the weight I had, right? She was looking into my abdominal cavity because that was the huge hole I had. And she saw this stuff pulsating and coming out of me. And she said, "Get a mirror. I want you to see what's going on." And only one nurse to another nurse would have such sick humor as to tell me to get a mirror. And I did look inside, and I knew that if she were not there, I probably would have freaked out. And I don't know what, by the time the ambulance came, I don't know what would have happened. But that was the first proof that God was taking care of me. And that she came totally unexpected, unplanned, taking the risk of not being paid. And yet her concern for me was she wanted to check on me. And this whole explosion took place. Well, she left. To this day, I don't even remember her name. I never saw her again. And I laid in my bed that day and I cried and I apologized to God for thinking and cursing at him, because it was only through his divine intervention that I had someone with me that was able to help me through this crisis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what I did? I recovered from that day on, and I went right back to my master, the food. And I continued to eat. And I was at a family gathering, and there was a young woman that came over to me and said, Carmela, I said, oh, Kathy, come, it's time for coffee and dessert, sit down. I was on my second piece of dessert, not one, but two. And she said, no, not today. I said, oh, you're one of those nuts, one of those crazy people. And she said, I have to tell you, you're a compulsive overeater. Well, you would think that she called me the biggest curse word ever. I am not. No way. I can control this. It doesn't control me. I wrote in my journals, food will not win. I will win. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you see the arrogance. You see how I was so self-willed. And what she said to me that day is what hooked me to surrendering. She said, you have an allergy of the body and an obsession of the mind. She said, you need to work the steps. You need to buy a book called The Big Book, and you need to work the steps. So I bought this book, and it's really falling apart because it's been so well used and loved. It's my original. I have many others, but this is the one I carry with me at all times. And I went to a meeting that she suggested. Well, unfortunately, it was a meeting of a bunch of women who were using it as their coffee time and socialization. So I had the nerve to raise my hand and say, I have this book here. I read it. I don't understand it. Well, I thought I was going to get an explanation at this meeting. Again, divine intervention. There was a young lady sitting next to me who wrote a website for A Vision for You and a phone number on it. And she slid that paper across to me. I never saw that woman again either. Something's funny here. All these people showing up and never seen again. So I dialed in and my voice was quivering because I couldn't say the words. I introduced myself as a newcomer and I could feel the flush. The words didn't want to come out. Hello, my name is Carmela G, and I'm a compulsive overeater, and I'm new, and I need help. With that, I got a sponsor. With that, I walked this journey. But you see, I had to let God out of the closet. I had to have him go before me. I had to include him. And I shared this morning on the 7 a.m. vision meeting, and there is no exaggeration. The way my life is today, first of all, the disease, as we read in the beginning, it never gets any less. It gets worse and worse. And I heard someone say, sarcastically, they were telling their sponsee, but it really gave me an image that stuck in my head. Why don't you just kneel down and bow to your food? Because that is your God. And that was my God. It truly owned me. I was going to allow up to 67 years, allow the food to take me out.
5 minutes left, Carmela.
Thank you so much, Maria. And thank God he interceded, because my first day of abstinence, July 22nd, 2013, I had made my abstinent breakfast. I was going to go for this, I was going for the gusto. I was going to do it, but I had not worked the steps yet. And I made my abstinent breakfast. I ate it. I went to visit my family, which is a very large family. And I used the excuse for all these years, I'm buying food for the family. They all enjoy it. Well, I bought the food, and it was everything that I loved. And I got to the house, and I was visiting, and I prepared the lunch, and I said, the hell with this. I'm going to eat this, and tomorrow I'll start this program. Well, my higher power knew me so well, loved me so much, that as I opened the back door to bring the food out to the family in the backyard, as the sun was shining, there was a voice in my head, and I have no diagnosis of schizophrenia, so it was not a voice that I was making up. And the voice said, no more, Carmela. It is today. Today, you will put the food down. And it was so clear in my head as the sun shone that day on me that I gave the family the food. I went in, I got my abstinent food out of the refrigerator. And 8 years later, I sit before all of you, happier, more peaceful than I could ever imagine. And the things that are going on in my life is not easy. On my journey, my heart had the nerve to stop, and I went out cold one night by myself, hit my head. Things are not easy. I'm not, saying I'm dancing every day. No, but I am peaceful. And the biggest thing is I am trusting, and I am working these steps. And a quick 1 minute story as to how Rebecca got my number. I was doing a 10-step on somebody that really ticked me off. And it was related to the WhatsApp that you're all on. And she called from California, and she was just digging. And I hung up, and I had to do that 10-step, and I gave it to God. And the next morning, the thought came, just put your number out there. And it wasn't even 2 minutes when Rebecca sent me a text. Would you talk in Dublin? I've heard you. So you think that there is anything mysterious? He's real. and he loves us all. And with that, I thank you all for listening. And I hope that someone gets helped by this message, because every one of us is vital and he's got us all. Thank you so much, and I pass. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmela. That was lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, let's open the floor to shares. Please raise your hand if you have a question for Carmela, or if you want to share. And if you would like to share, please raise your hand in the participant section and we will call on you accordingly. Limit your share to 3 minutes, and in that way, others get an opportunity to share their experience, strength, hope too. Okay, Scotty, please jump in, and thank you again, Carmela. That was amazing.
Thanks a million, Rebecca. My name is Scotty. I'm a grateful compulsive overeater. Thanks for your service. And thanks, Carmela. I was just sitting here and I thought it was very breathtaking, you know. It was absolute pleasure to listen to you. Usually the last couple of Mondays I've been in work, but I'm on a week's holidays, and my baby's inside with my partner, so I was really looking forward to come to a meeting, and a chair meeting as well. I always love chair meetings. People know I'm passionate about them, and especially when someone talks about God, you know, my eyes and my ears perk open, because to me it's a spiritual program. Well, I say it's a God program. I have to be mindful of the people who don't believe in God, and I just loved every part of your story, you know. And it just shows me it doesn't matter what race or what sex or what size we are. We all came from different walks of life. And I'm sitting here tonight and I can identify with you so much. And yeah, I love the way it says that in the big book. Sought out religious people, see where they are right. You know, I love that part, because any religion, any people that I know who have a God in their life are happy, you know. And that doesn't mean they're alcoholic or compulsive overeaters. People who have God in their life are so much more happy. And I always had a God in my life, if I'm being honest, Carmela, but it just gotten closer since being in Alcoholics Anonymous, and in OA. So yeah, it's my son's first birthday this week, and yeah, it's amazing. There's loads of cake and there's biscuits in this room, you know, and there's no temptation, because I just find that amazing, you know. And it's his christening, then the following day he's getting baptized, so it's a weekend full of food and a bit of drink. But I don't drink and I don't overeat, and like that, Carmela, God will be with me, not just in the morning, at night, but all throughout the day. And I'm just so blessed that I'm not in the food. I'm coming up to a year abstinent. I can't believe it's a year. I've been a long time in Alcoholics Anonymous. I never thought I'd get a week off the food, and it's just a gift. So I'm so grateful to be here, and it was such a blessing to hear you, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Scotty. Great to have you with us, and congrats for coming up to that milestone. Awesome. Next we have Catherine.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine and I'm a compulsive overeater. I just want to say thank you for doing service to everybody and for everyone here at the meeting. Camilla, that has blown me away. I just want to say thank you so much. The biggest word I got from that is when you said I went back to my master. That literally, it's kind of broken me, to be honest, because that's where I am. I'm back at my master. And I went through hell last week. I went into the food really, really badly. And I had anxiety and I literally couldn't breathe. I just couldn't get a breath from panic and fear and everything else. And I had 20 days abstinence before that, because I'm about 3 months in the program. And today then this kind of peace came over to me. It was like a piece of that I'm giving in, that I'm saying, it has me, you know, just make peace with it. I'm not going to get out of this. It is going to kill me. And everything you said was just amazing. It was just amazing. And I'm so lost. I'm so lost in this, you know, and Our Lady is my higher power. And I keep saying to her all the time, help me, help me, help me. But maybe I'm not listening. Maybe I'm just not listening. And it's just, it's like I said to someone before, it's like I'm in a cobweb. I'm just in a web and I cannot get out. And I have two beautiful grandchildren that's in London. I'm in Ireland. And God, they're only babies, and I'm 54, and it's like I'm kind of saying, my master has me. My master has me. And that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm just stuck. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Carmela. And thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for your share. Keep coming back. Thanks for being here. Okay, next we have Mark. Please, Jonathan, thanks for your service.
Hi, my name is Mark and I'm a compulsive overeater. And Carmela, thank you so much for your chair. And I've heard you loads of times on the vision meeting, and I can never get onto it live, but that's neither here nor there. And I've heard you loads of times. And like that arrogance, lack of humility, you know, oh, I was so independent, you know, that was me. And you know, again, like you spoke about God and divine inspiration or intervention. And that I came into the program and I was the atheist or agnostic. I was so stupid, I didn't even know which one I was, but I was sure it. And, you know, it was only when I got a higher power into my life that this program became a lot easier. You know, I still have my issues, I still have my problems, and I still have to face them. But, you know, we're having a higher power, or it's God for me. On my side, it makes it so much easier. And every time I run into trouble, it's always like I hand it over every morning, but I take it back. Maybe 10 minutes later, half an hour later, or a couple of hours later. And you know, where you spoke about people, where did they come from? Them, you know, kind of, you know, magic little pixies that seem to just arrive out of nowhere and say something or give you that moment of clarity, and then you maybe never see them ever again. And it's just incredible. And that's happened to me ever since I came into program, and my eyes just got opened and I became open to change. I became, you know, willing to learn. And as long as I remain teachable, I've gone through the steps a couple of times. I write extensively, you know, I you know, do my 10 steps, all of that sort of stuff. But as long as I remain teachable, you know, the day I think I have this licked, no way, that's it, I'm finished. I may as well go and do whatever the hell it is that I want to do. But, you know, to be able to hear people who are either struggling or doing well, you know, I've been to both of them places. And thankfully today is a good day. And, you know, just listening to you and just listening to your passion is just absolutely, you know, phenomenal and great to hear. So I'll leave it at that. So thanks very much. And thanks, Rebecca, for your service.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for your share. Great. Next we have Michelle H.
Hi, Carmela. Thank you so much. My name is Michelle. I'm a compulsive overeater, and I was captivated by every word. And my God, girl, you even had me, the tissues were out. I really identified with that. And it's the few weeks ago, well, before I joined OA, I found myself in the doctor's office, and the doctor basically told me, well, you're now morbidly obese, and gave me a whole list of diseases that I was likely to die from. And I did two things. I first reacted by, after the visit to the doctor, I went to my local coffee shop and I ordered 2 desserts and 2 coffees, because I didn't want them to think I was ordering for just myself. I thought, if I order 2 coffees, they'll think I've ordered for 2 people. And then I went home that night and I prayed to God for the first time in years. But I didn't pray for him to help me. I prayed for him to take me, because I wouldn't die by my own hand, but I wanted him to take me. Let's get this over and done with. Why should I have to wait and suffer? Because I didn't think that anything was going to change. And there are times I've thought, I'm never going to be a normal weight, but I've joined this program now and I can feel it and see it. And I am filled full of hope from the stories I hear. And Carmela, that story just fills me full of hope. And thank you so much. And with that, I pass.
Wonderful. Thanks, Michelle, for your share there. And next we have Maria. Please jump in.
Hey, Rebecca, thanks so much. Thanks so much for the service. Hey, Carmela. Oh, God, just, you're an inspiration and have been an inspiration for me many times on Vision for You, and the service that you give, Carmela, above and beyond, above and beyond what you give to this fellowship. And, it oozes from you, doesn't it? Happy, joyous and free, and that's what you are. And you remind me of that line that my sponsor always reminds me, rarely have we seen a person fail that thoroughly follows our path, and that's what you're talking about, isn't it? Following the path, following this journey. And what you said at the very beginning, you said, we have to die so that we're born again, and I loved that line. And yeah, because I died in the disease, it took every bit of me, and I would have said that was a bit extreme before, I was like, God, but it took my soul, it took my spirit, it absolutely did. And you talked as well about the allergy of the body and the obsession of the mind, and about this disease getting worse, because for me it got worse, permanent, progressive and fatal, and that's what it is. It'll take me out, absolutely take me out. Yeah, and what you spoke as well about, Carmela, you spoke about life being hard. You said, it's not a bed of roses, that there's obstacles I've come across in recovery, that haven't particularly wished for. My dad got the last rites tonight and I'm at a meeting, yeah, so life life can throw the curveballs, and it's been a long road, with my dad being sick, but I haven't had to eat, I didn't eat as a way of coping, I didn't drink as a way of coping, I had my higher power, I have God all the way. And something you said as well, Carmela, because I could identify with it when you said that you had the bargain in God, you had the Santa Claus list, and I had that God too. You do this and I'll do that. And there's somebody on the line here that I got so much help from this morning, that you talked about God sending you the people with skin on, and certainly they're sent to me. And being just suggested things to me this morning that I did. That have really helped with my dad. Yeah, and what you said is at the end, where you said God's there for all of us. God doesn't let us down. He's there for every single one of us here, and walks the path with us, and you use the word surrender. If I just surrender, God does the rest, because I can't do this living thing on my own. I can't do it without 12 steps. I'm a compulsive overeater, so I need 12 steps to walk this path. So thanks again, Carmela. You're an inspiration. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Maria, and thank you for your beautiful service today. Next we have myself. I'm just going to quickly jump in. I am Rebecca, compulsive overeater from London. Thank you so much, Carmela, for your share. It was really powerful. And what you said about we must die before we're born again. And that whole concept of I didn't want my ego to die. I didn't want to let go of my defects. I didn't want to let go of king food. It was my master and it had me. But in order to be free, that's exactly what I had to allow to happen, to let go of. And it was scary, but I don't regret it, and now I'm free, and it's such a gift, such a gift. yeah, you talked about this, there's a kind of arrogance of, yeah, I've got the answer, I can figure this out. And it was a kind of arrogance. And I never really thought of myself as an arrogant person, but there was self-righteousness in there, all sorts. And the way you described in your story, like these like kind of little pixies or angels, your kind of search and rescue party. Yeah, there are so many times in my life where I've been held and I didn't realize it, but yeah, higher power to some understanding does exist. It just does, yeah. When you were saying about like, oh, why don't you just kneel down and bow to food, it's God. I've had so many different gods, is it, if it's food or money or status. And yeah, food, it was definitely a god to me, and a god that doesn't love me. It doesn't love me back like my higher power does today. But yeah, thank you for what you said, and just highlighting that kind of crazy whirl of self-will run riot, thank you for all your awesome shares. That I pass. Next,
you.
Next we have Margaret D.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you for your share and for all your service and sharing. I'm Margaret and a compulsive overeater, and I'm very grateful to be here tonight and listening to both Carmela and listening to all of you share. Carmela, was wonderful. It was a wonderful share, and you embody the serenity, you embody happiness, and it's just a gorgeous kind of role model of having kind of come to recovery and being as you are now. I identified with so much of what you spoke about, not only food is my master, but also you came into the program at 67, and I came in this year at 67. I'm coming since February, and I came in because I had a gun to my head, literally, because I was killing myself, that my weight was causing me huge problems. So I'm just so grateful, and so grateful to be here, and so grateful for everything. I just want to share two things, I think, particularly that I'm grateful for. One is that, sorry, my husband at the moment is in a nursing home with dementia, and I'm able to visit him 4 times a week, and I'm able to love him the way I've wanted to, and it's a wonderful experience, and I feel God is with me all the time, but I feel him particularly when I'm in the nursing home, and I just say to him, just, what do you want me to do today? How can I love him more today? But one of the things that's amazing to me is that he adores chocolate, and every day I see him, I bring him chocolate, and I have to feed it to him in tiny portions. So the chocolate's on my hands, the smell of chocolate's all around me. And chocolate was my big thing, and sugar. And I have no longing to eat that chocolate. So I feel that I am freed from that obsession, and blessed and held as I do that. But also the other thing that I'm so grateful for is that one of the things I've noticed over the last period is how much love I feel for other people, and how I see the love, whereas I would have been probably critical and bitching and moaning. I'm not saying that's gone, but I'm much more conscious. That's much more clear to me. Love is more clear to me, and the love that's in me, and in a way, that's how I feel God moving through me, is through that. So thank you for a wonderful share, Carmela. I feel very grateful and enriched for having listened to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your share, Margaret. Praying for you. Okay, next we have Susan, followed by Laura. Jump in, Susan.
Hello, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Oh gosh, I just feel so privileged to have been here tonight to hear Carmela. Oh wow, Carmela, you have absolutely blown me away in the most spiritual sense. I'm 68 years of age, And I have just returned to OA after an absence of over maybe 30 years now. I joined OA in New York, Carmela, in Manhattan, because I was living there at the time, another point of identification. And I went through all the steps with a wonderful sponsor at that time. But over the years, my master took over, and my master is a very, very tough master. And I followed that master freely. And at my highest weight, I had gone down to a normal weight all those years ago. At my highest weight, I was 301 pounds. And now that I'm joining again, since in the last, I've joined again in the last 10 days, I am starting at 266 pounds, massive amount of weight. One of the bottoms I reached was, my sisters were with me about 2 weeks ago, and I fell in my kitchen and they couldn't get me off the floor. And I had to walk on my bum to get into another room where there was a sofa, and shimmy myself up with my arms onto the sofa, half onto the sofa, and then my dear sisters got me the rest of the way. And I don't want to live like that anymore. And my friend, whom I just particularly call Jesus, even though I'm not a religious person in any way, I'm a spiritual seeker, but I've called my friend Jesus into my life, and I've turned my will and my will and my life over to the care of my higher power, that I just choose to call Jesus. I see Jesus as my friend and the face of God. And I'm so grateful. I have approximately 10 days of abstinence under my belt now, but I am only this close to having a binge. And I'm aware of that, and I'm not fooling myself. Please God, one day at a time. I'm not fooling myself now. I'm close to getting a sponsor, and I'm going to hit the big book again and start doing my steps. And I have an awful lot of work to do, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you so much, dear Carmela. Thank you. I'll pass.
Thanks, Susan. Great to have you with us. Carmela has kindly offered to stay an extra 10 or so minutes so we could get shares in. So, you know, obviously we're coming up to the hour. If you have to go, please go. But we'll take the next hand up, which is Laura S. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, Laura here, compulsive overeater. Just thanks everyone for your service, and I really want to especially thank Carmela for such an amazing share. You said so many things that really struck a chord and really help in my recovery. You said at the beginning, we get a promise of recovery from the big book, and even that itself is actually so inspiring. We get joy, fulfillment, peace, and serenity. We are gifted these things, and I just think it was lovely that you said that. We need to be reminded of that, you know. And you talked about how the food owned you so much that you were prepared to let it kill you, but you realized you wanted to live, and God interceded for you in a huge way. That is just so inspiring. And I loved as well that you said every one of us is vital. You know, we all need to hear that, you know, because we feel so worthless and in the food, but you know, everybody needs to hear that regardless. You know, it's a lovely comment. So, you know, in my case, well, I have this disease of the mind and body, but I had it all of my adult life, and I had it, and I had no idea. I just didn't know. Like, I just thought that I thought I could control it because I didn't realize that I wasn't in control. And then I used to just blame myself and say, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm just lazy, and I'm just not bothered, or I never understood it all of those years. And it was only about 2 years ago that I actually had a serious realization really hit me. through a course of events that made me really realize that I actually had no power over this food addiction. I realized I was addicted and that I actually couldn't stop. And I'm just so grateful that somebody said to me, it sounds like you should go to OA. And I had never even thought of that in all that time that I was suffering every day. And so as soon as I heard it, I knew that I needed to do that. And it was really hard in the beginning because I didn't want to join it. I didn't want to do all that work. I thought you just go to a meeting once a week and maybe do a little bit of homework and that was it. But to come and to it then and to realize how much was involved, it was overwhelming to me in the beginning. It just felt overwhelming to me. But now it's really just a joyous part of my life every single day. And and coming and hearing an experience like yours, really, really helps my recovery so much. And we need people like you, and we need these experiences. And I just want to thank you so much, and thank you to everybody. And that's all I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Laura. Thank you for your share. And don't see any hands up at the moment. So maybe we can bring our meeting to a close right here. Okay. Are there any announcements, OA announcements? Please jump in and share if there are, or place them into our chat. I'd like to remind you of the 7th tradition that every OA group ought to be self-supporting, declining outside contributions. The money for rent and literature and any excess funds go into group. We will post the PayPal link for the 7th tradition in the chat function. It has been posted. Tradition 12 states that anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all these traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Therefore, who you see here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here. Would Michelle please kindly read the promises on page 83 for us?
If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Okay, we will close the meeting by linking virtual hands and saying the Lord's Prayer and the Serenity Prayer for those who wish to join us. Feel free to unmute.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy
Thy
kingdom come,
kingdom
thy will be done
On earth
as it
as
is in
it is in
heaven.
heaven.
Give
Give
us
us
this
this
day
day
our
our daily bread.
and forgive
Forgive
us
us
our
our
trespasses,
trespasses,
as we
as we
forgive
forgive
those
who
who
trespass
trespass
against
against
us.
us. And lead us
Lead us
not
not
into
into
temptation,
temptation, but
but
deliver us.
deliver us from evil.
from
God, grant me the
Serenity
serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
change,
courage to change the things I can, and wisdom
the
to know
wisdom.
the difference.
The difference. I'm not man down. Amen. you so much, everyone, for your shares, and thank you so much, Carmela, today.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Carmela.
Thanks, Carmela.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Carmela.
Carmela.
Oh, it was a gift. It was a gift to me. Thank you all.
And
Yeah,
hello,
you're wonderful.
and goodbye to New York. Goodbye to New York.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Right.
Keep going. You're worth it. Remember.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.